Hello and welcome to week two, the podcast stable NFL edition. Tonight, we come together to discuss the debacle of week one. Kam Kinny showing up with a clean sweep. 0 for 5, 0 for 5.
Want to create a new place for you to explore it. The algorithm exporting what is important. Tech P a portion
Jeff
in
McKinney.
accordance, but it's all anointed.
Hey, look, had to get all my losses out right away. You know, it wasn't the best performance, but I'm gonna go through and explain each one because I think I had, you know, the first one was the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Very winnable game.
Hey man, hold on. Let's not jump
Now,
into excuses. Let's not jump into excuses.
no excuses. No. I'm giving the Eagles all their credit. Hey, CD catching passes. I might be 1-5. Uh, Detroit Lions versus Green Bay. I did say I do not trust Detroit at all, but Jordan Love fell back a little bit last year, so I couldn't pick them. And he showed me why you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Jordan Love, shout out to the Green Bay Packers. Detroit, I was right about you, and you proved me right and proved me wrong at the same time. So, double whammy. And then what was the next game? Oh, the game before that, Chiefs Chargers. Shout out to Justin Herloss. He gotta win. He did it big. Hey, shout out to him. I'm happy for him.
What about me?
Yeah, you got a dub. You got a dub too. Yeah, you got a dub too. You went. I think you went 2-3. Solid, but almost 50%. If we add a sixth game in there, could be.
Hey, when you are talking and facing off against someone who went 0 for 5.
But hey, my biggest one, and I told you this. We can rewind the tape. We can run it back. I said that John Harbaugh will find a way to lose to the Buffalo Bills almost no matter what. I wanted to believe in Lamar and Derrick Henry because I think they're fantastic players, but their coach, actually, I got a graphic. Go ahead and get into what you got. I got graphics and stuff to show about this guy. But you go ahead and
you got. Do you have the ability to throw your graphics up on that side, or do you need for me to will and deal?
No, hold on. Let me go ahead and download this real quick, and we're gonna see if I can patch this up right here into there.
All right. Well, you do that. I'm gonna work on getting ready to share a bit of screen here. Share a bit of screen, and I'll say that the one that we didn't talk about was the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy and what Michigan means to the city of Chicago and to all of the Bears fans out there in the 40-year drought. Uh, what it looked like last week was that there was another W that I was able to come away with just by the sure nature of understanding the Bears, and they haven't been able to get the job done. So, yeah, let's see here. What do we have here? Hold on. There we go.
Yeah. So I want to pull up that graphic here at a one integration. It's all about accountability. So I'm gonna step out in the forefront. Week 1, 0-4-5.
Talk to me a little bit about this age in that face and what this image really signifies here.
Oh man, I remember we were in Austin when I took this picture. You were like taking pictures of something around the kitchen, and you caught me with the flash on, and I would just start making faces. Now AI put a little bit more of a disgruntled face because they saw the 0-5 on there. But I remember when I originally titled that picture when I posted online, it was like my face when I see the Charlotte Bobcats record, because we're watching basketball at that time. The Charlotte Bobcats stunk. And that,
Yeah,
that was my record in week one. I was the Charlotte Bobcats. It
yeah,
happens.
yeah. And that's, you said no more everyday Bron versus Jordan. Well, Jordan was the owner of the Chicago Bobcats right after Bob Johnson, and they have since changed their name to the Charlotte Hornets, back to the Charlotte Hornets. But the Bobcats was so bad they had to change their name,
Mm.
and they are no longer there. And so I can see that. I can see that face. Let's see what else did you prepare to share here?
John Harbaugh has blown 17 double-digit second half leads. That's the most by any coach since at least 1991. He has not been coaching in the NFL for that long.
Hey
So what
man.
that tells you is that this guy is perennial. He's the Doc Rivers of the NFL. You cannot trust him. He got a championship with,
Guess where Doc Rivers is from?
where is he from?
Chicago.
Yeah, man. It's all full circle. I should have seen the links. I knew deep down. I knew deep down. If you go back and watch that podcast stable episode, it's on all the platforms. You see in my face, I really did not want to pick the Ravens because of him. But I tried to think that Lamar was going to step it up. They lose game one every year so far. I mean, it
Oh
seems
yeah,
like so.
yeah.
Hey,
I think last year they started out 0-3 or 0-2 or something like that, right?
they lost game one. They might have lost game two. I think they played the Raiders, and then they came to the Cowboys for week three.
Okay. Well, this week, we can't look back. We got to look forward. And so we're looking forward to seeing if you can bounce back. How you feeling?
Well, I will say this Thursday one, I feel like might be the toughest. It might be the toughest because we got Green Bay coming off a really good win. A lot of people got the Detroit Lions high. I don't, but I did like what I saw from the Green Bay Packers that game. And we got the Washington Commanders with,
Commies.
yeah, the uprising quarterback and, a revamped defense. Now, do we have we seen enough proof yet? Because it was the Giants they played. It was like, yeah, you look decent, but it's the Giants. I don't know if I trust it. So, in my heart of hearts, just going off of what I've seen thus far, I'm gonna go with Green Bay. They're at home, um, and they're gonna figure out a way to win this game. And Washington could prove me wrong for sure. I could see them winning, but a Giants win, then that's not convincing for me. So I'm not seeing that right now. And we'll find out tomorrow night who gets the dub. What you got?
Well, I'm not ever, when I don't absolutely have to, going to pick Major Tutty
Mm,
as a winner. And so, the Washington Redskins mascot is an upright, standing, walking pig by the name of Major Tutty. And so, um, I'm just not going to be able to pick that. It reminds me of the last time I was in Washington. I was there at the African American Museum. And as I proceeded to go towards the head of the line, I had on a Dallas Cowboy hat. This was before I retired and before I came up with the groundbreaking term gerrymandering. Uh, the elder gentleman that was there, kind of manning the crowd that was there, bringing people in and making sure people were able to get service and checked out. He called me forward. He recognized my hat as an American. He acknowledged it, and then he told the cashier to give me the discount.
mm.
So I received the discount by way of an American there in Washington who had enough of the commies in Major Tutty, and so I will not be picking them. I think that Green Bay is they may be on to ramping themselves into a Super Bowl contender. They were able to do what they were able to do last week and that was with Micah Parsons. I'm gonna say he was probably at 60%. He didn't play much. I think he played pass rushing downs. He still was able to do a whole lot more than that pass rush was able to do there with Jerry in the Dallas Cowboys, and so I'm anticipating seeing more of that. So I'm gonna be going with Green Bay.
Well, I will play Jerry's advocate for 1 second. His sack was in the late game when it was already way ahead. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of James Harden esque, empty calorie, you know. But I will say before that, I actually watched the game. He was getting good pressure and stuff like that too. So hopefully he's healing up. This is a short turnaround, 4 days. So hopefully he's out there and he's been healing up and he's ready to go. And they put on a good performance. And I guess we both got Green Bay. Uh,
And you said Micah had how many sacks last week?
I've seen him get one. He got one or two.
I'm not counting. Any idea how many sacks the defense for the Dallas Cowboys had last week?
I know they had the highest pressure rate on the
Any
quarterback,
idea? Any
or second
idea?
highest, excuse me,
Any idea how
around
many
forty
sacks?
percent. Huh?
Any idea how many sacks?
They probably didn't get no sacks.
So the Dallas Cowboy defense is tied with Micah Parsons for one sack this NFL season.
Right, but it's Jared Goff versus Jalen Hurts. Jared Goff is a statue.
Hey,
He's a statue.
hey,
Jalen Hurts with no integrity in the back. Look, hey, you chop it up how you want to chop it up. That's cool. We gonna see as it plays out. Now, speaking of the Dallas
can
Cowboys,
you see that? Does that look like a backwards L or a forwards L? Which one is it? Either way,
that's a no. You had it right the first time.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is what they took last week, and
Okay. Well,
we are
so
not going to support any more of these in Dallas.
I'm not supporting anything, but 12 o'clock they got a game.
Man,
Are you?
what and that let me just speak on that.
Mm-hmm.
How many times this early in the season is a divisional opponent scheduled out of the NFC East with Dallas on the schedule, with Dallas in the game, and it's a noon game? Like, I mean, the Vikings and the Falcons are playing Sunday night, and so this goes to show you what the schedulers believe about this game. The Giants and the Cowboys deserve to be a noon game. And so, I
Look,
understand. I
Dak
understand.
has
Say it again.
dismantled them.
Say it
Like,
again.
so Dak has dismantled them consistently in the
Oh,
last three
yeah.
years. They don't. Hey,
The Giants are going to lose. Dathan, uh, Paul Dowdy, my good friend, um, and he used to be a very vocal Giants fan, but he hasn't had much to be vocal about over the last 5 to 10 years. And so, uh, shout out to you, brother. Wishing your Giants well this weekend, but they'll be taking a big fat L to Jerry's boys, and Jerry won't have to do so much gerrymandering this weekend. He'll be able to talk about the team going out, and he won't be having to do all of this shiny he was doing after the game. Oh, Shoddy did this. Oh, they did. No, you all lost. Period. And so a loss is a loss is a loss. No
mm,
more gerrymandering.
mm.
Who do you got? Who are you taking in this game?
Who am I taking? What in the 12 o'clock game?
In the 12 o'clock game?
Well, I want you to pull up my graphic right here. This third graphic right here.
The third graphic. Bring it
Yeah,
on.
pull up this third graphic
I gotta
because
pay
it's going to go
attention to
into
detail here.
who is going to win tomorrow's game. This graphic is going to show you week one, all of the quarterbacks, their time to throw, and the depth of the targets that they reach. And you see at the very top, below average time to throw, he has the longest depth of the target, which means he is about to air the ball out against these New York Giants. That was a better defense in Philadelphia. He's about to, start getting his MVP campaign ready. number four. I'm expecting at least 4 tutties, 400 yards if they let him stay in the game, and he's going to throw a parade versus the they call them football giants, but they're just New York, really.
Jackson Dart, you're on the clock.
Yeah, hey, we'll see. Yeah, and we'll see if we get a sack this week because we got Russell Wilson. He's a statue like Stafford. So if we start running up them sacks, don't say it's Russell Wilson because I tried to give you that argument with Jared Goff. So
I tell you what, it won't. This Dallas Cowboy line, they were entertaining a man off the couch today here in Frisco, Texas. I hear that Jadeveon Clowney was in town, and so
do what you
not
got.
sure how much gas he has left in the tank, but they need a shot in the arm. Who we got up next? Kam Kinny.
Man, this game I want to touch on right here. The Bills versus the Jets. Now you might be saying, why the Jets? The Bills is probably gonna win. Like, they got the reigning MVP. He proved it on Sunday night. He did his thing, took care of the ball. But the Jets, quiet as kept, they played a very good game. They played a very good game.
I agree.
Aaron Rodgers was able to come out with that W, but
Justin Fields played a great game.
Justin Fields played a great game, and I think the Steelers defense is probably better than the Bills defense. Division game as well. Man, I'm gonna take an upset. No offense, Bills fans. This is nothing against y'all, but I really liked what I saw from the Jets last week. There's gonna be some upsets coming up, and this is gonna be one of my first ones that I'm picking. I'm picking the Jets to somehow win against the Bills and create some competitiveness in that AFC East.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Bills winning there against the Jets. I do believe that the Bills um, they did show some resilience in that game there in that unbelievable comeback against Lamar Jackson. I do believe that the Jets do have a shot at winning, and I would love to pick them. However, we just haven't seen them put it all together yet, and so um,
Not
I do want to see it. I do want to see it. My good friend, longtime friend Brian, um, is a Jets fan, and we stood out front and talked about the team and how they looked, and I'm pulling for them to win, but I just don't think this week is going to happen. It's not likely to happen.
okay. Next up, we got Super Bowl rematch. Eagles at the Chiefs. Wow. Go ahead. You go first on this one. I don't know. This one's
You know,
tough.
Patrick, my homeboy, uh, he came out and they really out there, and I believe they played in Brazil. Uh, they let Jim Harbaugh and Justin, what do you call them? Hair loss.
Her
Uh,
loss.
her loss. Uh, he actually looked well. He actually looked
He
really
did
well
good.
again.
You're
And
right.
so um, I respect what the Chargers did. I knew that Jim would have that team prepared, and I gotta say that Andy Reid will have the Chiefs prepared at home to not go 0-2. And so I'm gonna take the Chiefs in this 325 matchup this week too.
Well, looks like we are disagreeing yet again. I am going to go with the Eagles, and I can't go with the Chiefs because my only reason to go with the Chiefs would be the same reason I went with them last week. Is because I feel like they get help sometimes. Look, the Eagles, they showed resilience last week. Playing without arguably their best player at the defensive tackle position. Uh, and Jalen Hurts went out there, put on a show, and I think he could do it again. And this time, yeah, I don't know if they got the DBs over there like we have DBs. So I think AJ Brown, I think he turns up this game unless Jalen Hurts, turns the ball over, significantly. Now, look for them. They might suspend that. What's the defensive tackle's name? I can't remember the one
Oh,
that's that.
no, no, they already handed down the penalty.
Is it suspension?
No, they said that his toss of week one was served at as the suspension.
Suspension. Well, yeah, the Chiefs definitely just lost. Then, I'm. I think this game is. It's in Arrowhead. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles. They've already proved that they can dismantle the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl. They kept it competitive the other year when the Chiefs were still, a really solid team. And I don't see it right now from the Chiefs. They can go and prove me wrong. Go ahead and make me 0-5 again, Chiefs. You can do it. I believe in you, but
Yep.
not enough to pick you. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. Is that game number 4? I believe that's game number 4.
One, two, three, four. I think that's game number five. Washington.
No, that's game 4 then,
I took
because
Green Bay. I took the Giants. Oh, yeah, it's game number four. You're right.
so we'll do game 5. We'll do a Monday night game. You want to do Buccaneers Texans or you want to do Chargers Raiders?
Buccaneers, Texans, or Chargers, Raiders. Ooh. Let's go Buccaneers, Texans.
Okay, Buccaneers Texans. Whew. Okay, when I look at these teams, man, I think the Buccaneers are on a more solid run. I mean, like what you're gonna get from them. The Texans is kind of just like, they had a great run one year. It's kind of like when they had Deshaun Watson. They had a great run like one year, and then it was just like, like Deshaun's out there throwing and making some plays, but they weren't winning games and stuff like that. Um, I trust. I would trust the Buccaneers in that matchup more than I would trust the Texans. I'm going with the underdog yet again, Baker Mayfield and those wideouts over there and that run game that they got. I think that they could come out with a W in Houston, H Town.
Yeah, I did. I was pleasantly surprised with what I saw from the Buccaneers last week. Um, I thought that they took last season, they were building upon that. I remember when Baker Mayfield was thought to be on his way out, but he looks like a real NFL quarterback
Oh yeah,
that'll be around for a while, um, and that can actually lead a group of men. And so I like what I saw from Baker, but I also am very hopeful to see CJ Stroud bounce back. And so I'm going to take Houston, H Town, Texas. Tell me how you feel coming around the corner, gripping wood, wheel. It's time. It's time. Elbows and swingers. Don't ever say that you ain't never heard a Dallas cat pick H Town. I'm rolling with H Town. I'm rolling with H Town.
yeah. I feel like if they was fully healthy, like I think it's Nico Collins that's out right now. If they was fully healthy, I'd probably pick them to win. But and they got the Joe Mixon out too, so I'd probably pick them. But right now, the Buccaneers are pretty much healthy. They're consistent. They're consistent. You know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get 23 points out of Baker in that offense. Houston, I don't know. I just don't know. And hopefully, I'm not rooting against you when I do these picks. I'm never rooting against you. I'm just picking based off of my knowledge. Now, I was 0 for 5 the first week, so go ahead and fade me if you dare. Fade me if you dare. But if I come out 5-0, will you learn your lesson? We'll see. We're gonna see. What about I feel like we went through the games kind of quick. Do you have any like input on like maybe like way too early like contenders or way too early like MVP candidates or anything like that or surprise stories?
I did like that. There was premium level competition at the quarterback level last week. So I saw a lot of good quarterback play. Lamar Jackson looked unbelievable.
Man,
Um, we talked a bit about him last week. I also say that
man.
America's quarterback, Dakota Rain Prescott. He looked fantastic.
Man,
Um, if it wasn't for Jerry, um, if it was
nah,
if it wasn't for Jerry, and
nah.
so well, yeah, if it wasn't for Jerry, Jerry,
Are you saying it wasn't for Jerry? Then what?
then I would have some hope.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I would have some hope. Jerry is somehow or another. I'm trying to figure out, like, for all these years, how he ends up talking after every game. And I know that's his position, and he's the owner, and that kind of thing. But I just to get back on topic, um, I am looking to see Dak Prescott pull away with a big game this week. With a big game, he's not gonna have this many opportunities um, to do what I think he's gonna do this week this easily. I
Mhm.
believe that the New York Giants are gonna have to mail it in. They're mailing it in this season, and they're not gonna be any good. They're not gonna be any good, and we won't hear much from Dathan Paul Dowdy. He won't be having much to say at all. And this week, what we're going to see is Dak Prescott. He's going to, instead of JJ this week, we're going Dak Prescott, who's going to be throwing the ball all around the field at noon against the New York Football Giants.
Man, great way to wake up. I agree with you. Those were my, two of my standout. Those are my two favorite quarterbacks. I'll just preface with that. I will say, just based off of who won and who didn't win, I would say that Josh Allen and Jalen are, at least as far as quarterbacks, are my MVP favorites. But I agree with you too. Like Lamar, I feel like he played to the better game. His running back just happened to fumble, and honestly, I feel like he probably should have went to his coach and convinced him like, hey, we need to go for it on fourth down right here. But other than that, he played great. And Dak, I mean, if you said if it weren't for Jerry, if for me, if it weren't for CD Lamb, the most drops since he's entered the league in 2020, if he does not drop one of the four balls, I'm not even talking about catch all of them. He does not drop one of the four balls. Dak is leading the MVP race. He beats the reigning champs on opening night with a pretty much flawless game. Pretty much flawless game. So
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'll all have a jolly good time.
that's cool. But just based off of what I've seen and what I know that what he's gonna do to the New York Giants, I'm gonna put him right there on my MVP ladder too, behind those other two quarterbacks that won. And then I'm gonna put Lamar as well because we know what he could do. And then I'll say, off the top of my head, I'll go Justin Herbert number 5 because he played a great game in Brazil. He really did.
And I also want to make sure that we're able to share a bit of um, let's see here. We got to be able to show how we're going to stand up and how we're going to have a voice here in Dallas. And that starts with creating things that drive messaging into the subconsciousness. And so you've heard me speak of this term gerrymandering. What is gerrymandering? Well, let's look at the back of the shirt here. It says the art of reshaping success without winning, describing how the professional football team in Dallas continues to generate profit, attention, and influence despite decades without championships. And so when I read that, I can't really think of a better description. And so for all of those um, current Dallas Cowboy fans, all of those Americans who are tired of hearing Jerry talk without winning, and for those of us who are retired, we retired. We stepped away and we said, no longer can we subject ourselves to this. We have the gerrymandering week one cracked star T. And so we are not here to pretend as if um, success can be accomplished by losing in the playoffs and having the world's most valuable sports franchise that does not compete. And so that's the way that I want to make sure I use my voice. We're having some conversation talking about the games upcoming this weekend. I'm excited about that. But being from Dallas, we need to get our eyes back on winning games on the field. Winning games on the field. And so this week, I think we'll win some game. We'll win a game. It's the New York Football Giants, and so we'll end up 1-1, well on our way to 8-8, or on
Mhm.
their way to 8-8. We'll see. We'll see if I'm wrong. However, I'm bracing for that. I'm bracing for that. And so Jerry has some draft picks in his pocket, and he and Will McClay and Jerry Mandarin Jr. and Steven and Charlotte, uh, they'll make some draft picks. They'll wait and overpay some players and do what they normally do, and we'll continue to talk about this until they can prove me wrong. Jerry Mandarin lives.
Yeah, I just ordered mine. They actually just sent me an email, just shipped. So, um,
Yeah, the orders are up. I don't know exactly how many we've sold so far, but get your copy. Get your how many different colors we have here. Let's actually go through it. Let me pull it back up. Let's see what it looks like. What does it look like in white? There it is.
that's what I got right there
Gerrymandering on the sleeve.
with
We
the.
have the O2G SPN on one sleeve here. This is
And
our
I got the hat too.
sports
Yeah,
branding. And then on the other side, we have the O2G logo, Once Integration logo. And so, um, pink, you know how I feel about pink. And so here it is. You guys go out and get your copy. We are not going to stand idle anymore and not have a voice. What else we got before we jump off?
man, I don't know. I mean, we could talk about, you know, you got Steve Ballmer and the Clippers and Kawhi. Um, shoot, I don't know. We're kind of just in the beginning of the sports season right now. So,
Yeah, I'll touch on that really quickly. I think that all darkness comes to light. And so, Steve Ballmer coming out of Silicon Valley, or shall I say, out of Seattle, the Pac Northwest, there, growing up at Microsoft, he knows how to play in the gray area and be legitimately clean. These are the same people who recognize the majority of their billions of revenue into another country so that they don't have to pay federal taxes and such as the rest of American businesses. And so they go into the game thinking about how to game the game, how to get into the gray area. And so um, if we look back, Kawhi had a chance to go anywhere in the league, and LeBron and the Lakers were in heavy pursuit. And so, why not create a fake company and a fake opportunity to represent clean air and trees or whatever else was going on. And all you have to do is show up and say, "Hey, I got conned. I got conned out of 50 million. Hey, I lost 50 million. It was no big deal. No big deal. They got me for 50 million. And in addition to that, it was just an expense, a write off. And so, it's Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer wins again. He wins again. And so, Kawhi, salute to you. Get your bread. Get your bread.
yeah, I feel it. For me, I think I've it came out that Jeannie Buss didn't want to do any like certain type of deals. It was like a vague little article title. about that that people brought up once this situation came out. Um, so it made sense. I think for Kawhi, I think all three places he was willing to play basketball at. Um, Allegedly, the best offer would win. You know, so I think Kawhi, like at the end of the day, like he's always known his value. Like he wasn't going to let Greg Popovich, treat him a certain way, or Tony Parker talk about him a certain way when he's otherwise, at least outwardly for the public, has shown respect to those two individuals. Uh, and so, for him, him and maybe Uncle Dennis, um, it's all always about maximizing the potential earnings, especially if they know about his injury history, and how much they have to maintain that situation. So I don't know exactly. I'm not all the way into the details and stuff like that, but we'll see how it plays out for them. This year they got Bradley Bill on a after he got bought out. So I don't know, but maybe this gets into more investigations. Maybe they look at what was the guy from the Mavericks that signed with New York?
Jalen Bronson.
Jalen Brunson signed for a huge discount. Maybe they start looking into other players. I'm not saying anything allegedly. I'm not saying anything about you, Jalen. I'm just saying maybe this starts a domino effect. Maybe it doesn't. We'll
Well,
see.
we say he signed for a huge discount, but he was a perennial, um, uh, headed towards being a perennial all star, and the Dallas Mavericks didn't want him for a discount. And so, I think
I think the Mavericks offered him like a discounted deal.
better
And,
go back and look.
huh?
You better go back and look.
They try to give him the max.
They didn't offer him at all, if I recall correctly. I think he attempted to get an early extension. I didn't look this up. I didn't prepare, and so
Mhm.
this is just me speaking off of memory. So I could be wrong. I do know that I did see the Dallas fans speaking about how the Dallas front office allowed for Jalen and other players to walk with no compensation, um, and those players would go on to play major roles uh, for other teams, and so um, it's worked out for Dallas up to this point, regardless of whether Jalen was here or not. They did, I guess, backfill him with Kyrie. Um, there was a certain sentiment that didn't value Kyrie in Dallas. However, that person has been proven wrong. And so I think that Kyrie now at the helm, regardless of what anyone else thinks, they can't say it out loud. And they have to go and they have to make sure that Kyrie is comfortable. Because if Kyrie gets up or gets disgruntled, then there's going to be some eyebrows being raised for sure. And so I think Kyrie's firmly in the driver's seat. I think AD is someone who's healthy or maybe not. Um, and we won't see really what that team looks like um, probably this season. I think Kyrie is probably not back until almost the playoffs. And so, um, you know, and I also, I mean, I'll just tell you, I don't know about the integrity of the NBA at this point, especially prior to the All Star break. I mean, if you listen to the players, they'll tell you, hey, it's a different game. And it's got a ball, it's got a court, it's got players. Um, and so, what do you mean it's a different game? When I played, all the games counted. And if you listen to the players, they will tell you that all the games don't count. It seems like that's what they're saying. Maybe not in those words. And we can see the proof in the pudding. Players are taking more risks. Players are the point totals are up. Um, and so, and then when the playoffs come, all of a sudden the point totals come down. And so, I do think that it's turned more into a entertainment driven uh, league and not necessarily uh, the competitive game that we grew up uh, watching people having to pay the price in a big game. And so I am looking forward to seeing how the NBA starts to drive competitiveness back into the earlier part of the season, or I just won't be watching.
Yeah, for me, I won't be watching for the most part. I mean, those what you said was it's they try more. Or what were we saying? Something about before the All Star break? It's a different game. That's what they say. Really, what it is, they're going through the motions before the All Star break. You know, taking it easy, trying not to get injured, this, that, and the other. And then once they see what kind of positions they could be for as far as seeding, is when they start trying after the All Star break to make that final push. Whether that's trying to get out of the play in, or position yourself to have that second seed, so you don't have to see the fifth seed or something like that. This, that, and the other. Because I think last year the fifth seed, I want to say, was the Clippers. So you had the Nuggets, Clippers, and stuff like that. So, yeah, for me, I'll watch during the playoffs if there's some good matchups going on. There's still some great players in the league, uh, but as far as watching like I used to watch all the games. I used to have, 4 games on the, going back and forth, like really watching, but it's not the same. And maybe that's me. Maybe I'm growing. Maybe things are different. But yeah, shout out to the old NBA.
Shout out to Kyrie.
Shout out to Kyrie.
Kyrie. Yeah,
That's one of
I'm
my
a,
great
I'm a,
players.
I'm a huge supporter of Kyrie. I love what he's doing in the community. I love it. I love how he uses his voice. I love the strategy that he's putting forth in managing his level of influence and how he projects his voice through social media. Shout out Kyrie Center um, to be able to make sure that people are able to get the truth about what Kyrie is feeling and what he's saying. And so, big fan of Kyrie. Shout out Luka Doncic. Shout out Luka Doncic. Hey, no matter what the silence may not say, their actions can be seen in the way that they move. And so the Don, 25, 26 NBA MVP. Book it this year. Luka
Mhm.
Doncic.
I mean, that's been the betting favorite for the last 3 years. So it's about time that it's about time he win one. He's been
Yeah, I
the
mean,
betting favorite.
it's a challenge to win when your front office and your medical team gets dismantled and your front office doesn't support you.
It's it's
It's
it's
it's a
it's
it's I
hard to
mean
win it when you don't come in conditioned and ready to go, and you're playing
yeah,
into.
it's hard to be conditioned and ready to go when you're hurt. And so you go look at the difference in the delta in the New York Knicks year over year from an injury perspective, and then what you will see is that the entire former Dallas Mavericks medical staff is now in New York. And so we can't ignore these facts. We
I,
can't.
I will also attribute that to the only person. I don't know if we said this on a podcast table, but I said there's the only one person that it was on site for me in the NBA, and that's Tom Thibodeau. And Tom Thibodeau, for me, will always be the reason for any player on his team getting hurt. And that nothing about that will ever change. I'm sorry. I get
I
your
saw a
point.
game today while at the gym, and they had it on, and it was the Celtics against the Bulls. I forget which year it was, but the first thing I saw was a slim, trim, and fit number 43 for the Boston Celtics, Big Perk. I said, "Oh man, check this out!" And then out of nowhere, I saw Ben Gordon dealing dirt, and I said, "Well, that means number one is in the building. Number one is in the building. What a joy Derrick Rose was to see play the game.
Yeah,
What a joy.
don't make
What
him
a
like that anymore, for real. Like best, I call Kyrie the best below the basket finisher at the point guard position I ever, seen. He definitely is. But if we're just talking about total finisher, maybe you say Russell Westbrook above the basket at the point guard position, or combo guard, whatever you want to call it. But total finishing, Derrick Rose could do it all. I'm
I got
talking
one for
about
you. I got one for you that I believe goes right there with him.
I'm talking about kissing off the glass,
I
I'm
got one
talking
for you
about
that
lay
I
it
believe
right
goes
in. I'm
right
talking
with him.
about one one hop step. Steve Nash, boo.
Hey, I got one that goes right with him.
Who?
And this guy's name was Franchise. Steve
He was solid.
Francis.
He was nice.
No, that was a gamer right out of Maryland. Hey, that dude right there, dog, Steve Franchise. I'm actually looking forward to the podcast table and being able to talk hoops, not necessarily watch the game. I do want to bring this to an end. I think we got on record for our picks this week.
Yeah.
I think you can find us back here uh, Thursday halftime ish, maybe a little bit later, depending on the flow of the game. We're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. We are here to make sure that we are bringing more conversation. And reliving the the things of yesteryear. We can take those as anecdotes to inform us, but we do have to look forward. And so we talk sports just to kind of stay relevant, but we also want to make sure that we're projecting a mindset of togetherness, unity, and making sure that the people have a place to get something different. No more of this run, run. We're grateful for the king. We're grateful for the king, but that season is over. That season is over. It is now a new day. We're talking real truth across all sports. And if you don't like it, we invite you. And Kenny, any last words?
It's a new episode to listen.
The horses lined up like they competing for the Kentucky Derby. 30 for 30,
30 for
high
30,
like
high
rappers where you see the jersey. We don't see your jersey.
Come on, let's
Holla
podcast
at me.
table.
Let me throw that finally up there. Finally, the wilderness is over and we're here. We're prepared to be able to speak the truth in a space where silence and passiveness has been tolerated. And so now we're gonna run that over like a Mack truck. And so for those who come to watch uh, and they have anything else other than love and they don't want to speak up, we'll speak directly to you. And so, as I said last week, I look into the mic, I speak into the mic. Truth is headed your way. Until Thursday, I am Tech P.
Damn.
Peace.